Hello, this is Grandma Jan from Red Toad Art Studio, and today we're going to make some painty papers. I want to make some fall and autumn collages with those colors in them, and I want to make me some papers that I can cut out and use that I haven't had to buy, and they look really neat. So we're going to make painty papers out of various fall colors. These are acrylic craft paints. You can use any kind of paint you want. The acrylics will work fine. You could use tempera, watercolor, anything you have on hand, use for this. We're just going to splash paint onto paper. We're going to dot it. We're going to splotch it. We're going to sponge it and get variegated colors to eventually make things like leaves and pumpkins and just various fall things out of. So let's get started. Today we're going to use just a brush. Any brush you have will work just great. And kitchen sponges. Now I'd suggest you be careful, don't buy the ones that have soap in them, because it might do, I was going to say it might do weird things, but it might do neat things too. Who knows? And cut off some little pieces to sponge paint with. And if you want, since these usually come in packs of several, you might want to just cut several so you can have them for different colors while you're working and not have it to clean out your sponge constantly. That's what I'm going to do. There we go. Whole bunch of sponges. And we have our water over here, we have our paint, and I'm going to use just plain old copy paper. Now this is the long, big sheets of copy paper, but it's just the same as what you get to run through your copy machine for everyday purposes. This just happens to be, I think they call it a legal size, and I have a bunch of this left over. This is a good thing to use it on. And then I'm going to paint a little bit on, this is paper that you get when you order things, and you just get all these long strings of paper, and I wanted brown paper, and I will paint on this, which will give me some neat fall colors. So let's get started. I'm going to start with a white one first. Let's do an orange. And I am going to just shake it up and squirt a little in a lid. And we're not going to try to be neat. In fact, I don't want to be neat because I want this to come out nice and variegated, with all different tints of color in it. Let's see, let's take one of these sponges now and see what it looks like if we sponge over it. It probably doesn't show up well, but it does give it a neat texture. You'll have to take my word for it, I think. We'll cover this with orange, and then I'm going to sponge some brown on it, I think. There we go. Let's get a little brown out. I've got brown oxide, and the orange I was using is called pumpkin orange. I wonder why I'm using that. So, ooh, that's very thin, but that's okay. I'm going to take this sponge and sponge some around this so there's various areas. We don't want it all done that way. In fact, we even want some stripes, I think. Let's see what we'll do with some stripes. And let's add a little red to it. Won't that make some scrumptious fall leaf colors? All right, I'll set that aside and get another sheet. Let's do a brown one like that next. Let's add some brown. Aren't these pretty? You do have to have a good imagination to see how these are going to be pretty, though. And that's what's so neat about collage. You really have to use your imagination and see what you can do with it. Let's do one with a brown base. This is a very thin brown. Yours might not be as thin as mine. I'm mixing a little bit of orange in with that brown here. Let's sponge a little, a little of this red while we're here. It's funny, I cut up a lot of pieces of sponge, but I'm only using one because I want all of these colors to merge with each other anyway. And let's try a little bit of yellow. Well, let's see. Let's try one. It's just called yellow. There are different kinds of yellows. I've got a canary yellow over here, and I've got more of a gold. Let's see what we get here. Ah! Oh, how pretty. Doesn't that look like fall? That's the idea. We want the basics, the colors of fall that we can cut into shapes. We can cut into fall shapes with our basics of fall colors. Isn't that neat? Let's do a brown one like this now. Okay, let's get some brown on this one. Okay. Let's try a yellow sheet now. We've got to do some greens too. Even though it's fall, there's still greens in the mix, especially the darker greens. If you have pine trees around, they really set off the bright colors. If you've got a big brush, you can even do this with a bigger brush and it will go a lot faster. But this happens to be what I pulled out today, so it'll do. Now, if you have the time, make a sheet of paper for each one of these. A whole one of yellow, then a whole one with yellow on a brown, and a whole one of red on it, and a whole one of it mixed. Then you'll have lots of things to work with. but I'm going to just make a few papers here to use, and I will show the collage we make. And if there's any patterns that I use as for leaves and pumpkins and stuff, I will try to make those so you can download them. Okay. Should we make a brown one of that? I've got a little different brown over here. I've got a golden brown. Let's try some of that. Let's do some greens. And this was Kelly green, and I'm going to add a leaf green in here. So we have two different kinds of greens. Okay. Kelly green first. This will be good if you're doing some pine trees or anything like that in the backgrounds. Okay, another one yet. We'll have a light blue with a little darker blue. Yes. And we'll do a brown one of the blue. Start out with a darker blue this time. I think we've done about enough to try our first collage. Now, I have not tried this either, but I will put it in a video, what I figure out or what I don't figure out, and we'll see what comes out of this. Need a little bit more blue. We got a little yellow in it then, or gold in it. That's fine. We might use that someplace. There we go. Now, when you're done, don't forget to clean up your brush and your palettes. Even if they're just lids, they can be used again, over and over again. And I hope you've had a good time making these painty papers. And I hope we have a good time making a collage out of them after they've dried. I will be back with you in a few minutes to show you what the dried sheets look like and how many we have. So I'll be back in a few. Okay, it's a couple hours later, and my painty papers are pretty dry. There might be a little dampness to them. And let me go through them real quick. We have this beautiful blue one, the green one, basically orange or brown. I guess it's browner than this one. This is an orange. And a yellow green. And yellows and reds. Won't those make great fall images? And then we have these darker brown ones. We have the orangey one, the variegated one, yellows and reds, greens. We ended up with 2 greens, didn't we? And our blue, our reds and oranges, our golds, and our browns. All of these sheets that we can now cut out to make fall images for fall collages. Pumpkins, leaves, nuts, acorns, you name it. I think we have a color for it here. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you have fun making fall collages this year. And I will be back with you when I've made a fall collage myself out of these papers. So bye-bye for now. Okay, we made a bunch of pretty papers, didn't we? And I said I would show you what you can do with them, and this is one sample. You can make a pretty pumpkin, blue sky. Now, I'll admit I did some dictionary pages that you didn't see in the video. I forgot to tape it, but this is just a dictionary paper, and they're painted with the same paints in the same way I did the white and brown papers. And you can just barely see the print. And this is how it came out. I think you could make some beautiful trees, and maybe that where they stack 3 pumpkins on top of each other, or all kinds of things with the painted papers. And I hope you've enjoyed doing this, and you paint a lot of papers and have fun with them. I'll say bye-bye for now. Bye.